It's KM to AM on WFAN. 101.9 FM. In there again before the clock strikes 12. Easy money. These shows are easy. We don't even have enough time. Dial 888-808-1019. Your nighttime host, Keith McPherson, on the fan. We're going to have fun tonight. This is a night where the Yankees and the Mets take the series. Good pitching, good hitting. This is a night where all you can do is laugh about the state of the New York Knicks and their coaching search. The Giants, they have a video go viral. Boogie Cousins goes viral. And before we get out of here, I'd like to hear from you about anything going on in the sports world. We're probably not even going to have any time to talk about Chris Kreider, any of these fringe things. There's so many things going on with the Mets and the Yankees. It's a good time to be a fan of both baseball teams. Shout out to the Met fans that went to Citi Field. We'll start there. That place is rocking. That place creates a home field advantage. The Mets are for real. There's no jokes or trolling or anything that anyone can say. Juan Soto is happy. Yeah, Juan Soto looks like Juan Soto. We knew there was, only an amount of time, right, that you had to wait for Juan Soto to be Juan Soto. He's a 26-year-old phenom, $800 million man. Juan Soto looks like Juan Soto. Back-to-back nights with a homer. And you know what? The Make It Happen Mets, what I like about the team, they don't play down to their competition. And they also don't get too high off of their own success. They don't live in yesterday. What I'm saying is I've heard multiple times Pete Alonso and these guys talk about, winning a game and then putting it away. That happened in Dodger Stadium. You win a game, you come out ready to play the next one. After the walk-off that they had last night, they were ready to play today. And after using all their high-leverage relievers last night to get that first game of the series, which is crucial, you got to take that first game of the series mathematically to just give yourself a better chance at winning the series. David Peterson, who I used to say was an unsung hero, who I said was such a very important part of the Mets run from last year, from June on. June is the Mets month, the Pride Month Mets. These guys, when June comes, they've been turning it on back-to-back years. Grimace's birthday is tomorrow. They don't even need Grimace magic. They're just a good team, top to bottom. And David Peterson, after his hip surgery, David Peterson, who I think is like 6'6", he looks like an ace out there tonight and gives the bullpen a night off. I knew when he had the 8-pitch first inning, I'm like, oh, he's going to cruise. Then he was at 66 pitches through 6 innings. I'm like, wait, he's got a chance to do it. And I give a lot of credit to Steady Mendy, who manages with his mind and his heart and the heartbeat of his players. He manages off feel. Yeah, he had Stanek ready to go, but you know what? He knew how this would feel for his team, for David Peterson, to go out there and get this done. You remember last year letting Luis Severino finish the job? Yeah, well, they powwowed in the dugout and he let him go finish the job, and David Peterson gets it done tonight. That's vibes. That's energy. Shout out to Evan Roberts. I know Evan went with his dad. You go one night and you see a walk-off. I know there are Met fans that went back-to-back nights. You see a walk-off one night, then you see a complete game shutout the next night on Juan Soto, Dominican Republic jersey night. You see another Juan Soto homer. You see 2 Brandon Nimmo homers. You just see a Mets team go out there and play good baseball from top to bottom. Just get a lot of hits and score a lot of runs and, do what they have to do to rock the place, rock the crowd, and to beat the Nationals. I think I saw somewhere that's Nimmo's second time hitting 2 home runs against the Nationals. I think it wasn't his 9 RBI game against the Nationals early in the year, whatever it is. You have Nimmo and Soto back-to-back in the lineup doing damage. You have a Mets team that it seems like feeds off of that crowd and has a legit home field advantage. They're 44-24. They're 20 games over 500. Looking to run away with that division. 888-808-1019 quickly here because I'm going to have to break and we're going to go to the update. Now I'll do another open and I'll take calls. The New York Yankees out in Kauffman Stadium, ALDS rematch. They haven't lost a game to the Kansas City Royals. And Clark Schmidt goes out there and gives you 6 innings. And that's the 5th time he's done that this year, which is a season high, a career high. Good, Clark, because the MO on Clark was that he couldn't get too deep into games. And back-to-back nights, the Yankees faced pitchers where, Cameron last night, he had a .85 ERA, weren't sure what you were going to get from him, how the Yankees would handle him, a left-handed pitcher. They handled him. Judge right away. And then tonight, Itchy Boobich, this is a guy who's having a great year. This is a guy who's rolling this year. Our very own Emmanuel Barbari tweeted out some stats with Boobich. Against the Yankees, 8 earned runs in 9.2 innings. Against everyone else, 9 earned runs in 70 innings pitched. A 1.16 ERA. The Yankees own the Royals, and they know that. You know that, I know that. And so the Yankees go out there tonight after the first inning, whatever, and then they tag this guy for 5 runs in the second inning. Everybody gets some. Volpe, Wells, Goldie, Ben Rice, Belly before that. Everybody get right tonight. The umpires couldn't get right tonight. I don't know what game they were watching. I don't know what they were seeing, but it didn't matter. The Yankees take the series. They've won 9 out of their last 11 series. They put up 5 runs in that second inning. Katie Sharp reports that in 2025, they've done that 17 times. It only took 66 games to get to 17 times. Last year in 2024, when they went to the World Series, they did it 15 times total in 162 games. This lineup is deeper. This lineup is better, but there's still some question marks with the Yankees, of course. Bullpen management, of course, they had to make it interesting at the end. Devin Williams has to come out and save the day after Mark Leiter can't field his position. After Jazz Chisholm comes out of the game and Peraza is in there, and now Jazz Chisholm, maybe they were onto something with the scheduled rest because yesterday he came out of the game with a neck injury. Tonight he comes out with a groin injury. He's a guy that's always had soft tissue injuries, but I guess you could just say whatever, the games were won, no big deal. But, these things carry over through the week, and this is a stretch of, I think, 16 games that the Yankees play without a break. This bullpen is concerning. Clark goes 6 innings, 91 pitches, and they don't push him. So you get Brent Hedrick, you get Fernando Cruz, and Mark Leiter Jr. can only get 1 out. And did they burn Devin Williams tonight? Devin Williams comes in a situation where he gets the save. Not great. And I was worried watching it. I'm like, the end of the game shouldn't be so worrisome, but it is what it is. Tomorrow is Devin Williams available. Tomorrow is Jazz Chisholm available as the Yankees try to sweep the season series against KC. 888-808-1019. Marcus Stroman is on the way back. We'll hear from him later. He's got a change of heart, a change of tune. Giancarlo Stanton is coming back. I'll update you on him later. I think he's done in Somerset with the Patriots. I think he's ready to go. And of course, the New York Knicks. Just as soon as you think that the New York Knicks are not a laughing stock anymore, just as soon as you think that the New York Knicks are a team that you can be proud of, they're the 3rd best team in the NBA. They're the 3rd best team in the East. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They are being mocked. They are being laughed at. And they are checking on everybody else's coach. It's gotten to the point now where I'm like, if this was the plan, yeah, we're going to talk about it. If this was the plan, I guess you had to fire Tom Thibodeau before you could check on everybody's coach. But if you didn't have a guy in mind, why'd you fire him so fast? Why didn't you plot and think and come up with something behind the scenes? You could have fired him after the finals. You could have fired him in July. You could have fired. I don't know, man. When we come back, I'll read what he put out in the New York Post today. He also joined Twitter and put this out there. And then I'll also read some of the things that we're seeing, some of the coaches that they're reaching out to. And I'm like, is this some kind of game they're playing? Oh, they're playing games with us now. The Knicks are playing games with us now. I guess you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So they're taking every shot. The Knicks seem like they're trying to find a prom date. It's prom season, ain't it? The Knicks are trying to find a prom date. They don't have one. So they're asking every girl that's got a boyfriend first. They're starting with the best looking girls that have been taken first. And when they strike out then they're going to default into taking a 5 to the prom. A 5 out of 10. All right. That's my open. I'll do another one when we come back. Keep McPherson on the fan. 888-808-1019. Mets, Yankees, Knicks to start. We'll get into some NBA finals, maybe some puck, maybe some other stuff later. Like I mentioned, Abdul Carter, stay off Instagram. Taking your calls, and I've got you till 2 a.m. KM to AM returns right after this.
Yankees and Mets all season long. WFAN, WFAN FM, WFAN FM HD1, New York. Odyssey Sports Station.
Good morning at 12 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti. But the Knicks continue to swing and miss in their attempts to talk to those already employed. Mavericks, Hawks reportedly joining the Rockets and T-Wolves and rebuffing the Knicks' attempts to speak to their current head coaches about jumping ship to New York. So Jason Kidd, Quinn Snyder, Ime Udoka, Chris Finch off the list as the Knicks search continues. Pacers outscored the Thunder 32-18 in the fourth, pulled away for a 116-107 victory, and Indiana's up 2-1. David Peterson was just brilliant. First career complete game shutout, scattered 6 hits, 6 Ks. Mets silence the Nationals 5-0.
Outstanding performance. Him and Louis, obviously, on the same page. I thought we played some really good defense behind him. He kept getting ground balls, and we make some good plays. And, it's good to see it.
Brandon Nimmo went deep twice. Juan Soto is 13th. While Pete Alonso doubled in a run as the Mets' win streak is 5. They've won 14 out of 17. Aaron Judge went deep for a third straight game. Paul Goldschmidt knocked in a pair. The Yankees doubled up the Royals 6-3. Clark Schmidt allowed just 2 hits over 6 scoreless with 7 Ks.
I thought his mix tonight was excellent. Between sinker, forcing, cutter, the curveball, and the sweeper, I thought he kind of had it all working a little bit, and that's when he's at his best.
However, Jazz Chisholm left the game. Left groin tightness and initial testing was good. Will be further evaluated later today. 76 degrees, clear skies, Central Park. That's what's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
Catch all the play-by-play with Susan Waldman and Dave Sims on the home of Yankees Radio, The Fan.
Good morning, good morning. Man, just that fast. It's Grimace's birthday. Keith McPherson on the fan, KM to AM. 2-hour show. Like I said, these shows are easy. I'm used to doing 5 hours. And all day I am on Twitter, Instagram. I'm listening to the radio. I'm watching sports shows on TV. I'm writing my thoughts. I'm clipping different posts and things. I'm seeing things. And I'm like, all right, I got to talk about this tonight. I got to say this tonight. I got to do this tonight. And I'm like, yo, breaking news out of the NBA. The Knicks' request to speak to Bill Belichick about their coaching vacancy has been denied by Jordan Hudson, a source confirms. That was my tweet. That tweet hit. I don't know if it hits the same on the radio. The Knicks are sending out these requests to everybody. My boy Jesus Nice writes, the Knicks really sending coaches, y'all still together DMs. Sliding into the DMs of married men under contract in other cities. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. I feel bad for Tom Thibodeau. And if you don't know, now you know that the Indiana Pacers are for real. I was watching that game for a little bit tonight, and I left the crib, and I'm like, they're going to win this game. What the hell? What the helly? What the Halliburton? This is a team of destiny, perhaps. Now, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but they're 2 wins away from being the champs. And I was saying this when I was on last Thursday. If you're a Knicks fan, how are you going to feel? How are you going to feel about the Pacers going on to win the whole thing, and you fired your coach over not beating them? If they beat the... Bro, anyway, let's go back to Tom Thibodeau and what he put out there. He said, thank you, in big letters, to the best city in the world with the best fans in the world. Thank you. When I was hired in 2020, I said this was my dream job. I am grateful that dream became a reality. Thank you to our players and coaching staff who gave everything they had, and to everyone who makes this franchise special. I am proud of everything we accomplished together, including 4 playoff appearances and this year's run to the Eastern Conference Finals, our first in 25 years. And to the fans, thank you for believing in me and embracing me from day one. Watching you support our team and seeing the Garden ignite with that incomparable Knicks energy is something I will never forget. With gratitude and respect, Tom Thibodeau. It's not supposed to end like that. It's not supposed to be this way. You know it's wrong. You can try to justify it. You can dial 888-808-1019 and say it was time. You can call up the fan and say, yo, they had to move on. He was a dinosaur. Yeah, but the way that they did it, something's fishy, bro. Tom Thibodeau's brother, Dennis, writes, born a Knicks fan, raised in a Knick home, you dream of being a Knick. Critics may target success, but that never mattered to you. You demanded accountability from the top down. You made countless sacrifices to enrich others. You stood in front of the bus, often alone, to protect ownership, management, and your players. You squeezed every ounce of energy from yourself to be the best coach you could be. No one can question your status as a championship caliber coach because everything you did defined what it means to be a champion. Congratulations, Tom, on your Knicks tenure. It's disappointing to see it end this way. No one knows what the future holds for the Knicks, but what's certain is that no one will ever pour more into the role than you did for the fans, for the city, for the organization, for your players. Somewhere, Tom Thibodeau is watching that Pacers game, and he looks like the Leonardo DiCaprio gif, like, see? Y'all fired me because I lost to Indiana? It's kind of crazy because all day I'm seeing different things pop up, right? Knicks denied again. They asked to speak to Jason Kidd. And they asked to speak to Ime Udoka. They even asked to speak to Chris Finch. No. But now they're starting to get to like teams that were not like, I don't know. Quinn Snyder in Atlanta, and I know Quinn Snyder's a good coach, got dubbed again. And now I'm starting to think, I'm like, what is this game they're playing? Are they trying to play us in the media? So I made the joke about them reaching out to Bill Belichick and getting denied by Jordan Hudson because it's all fun and games now. It's all a joke now. Then tonight I'm watching the Yankees and the Mets play, and Underdog NBA writes, the Knicks request to speak to Billy Donovan about their coaching vacancy has been denied by the Bulls. What? They would like, it's gone too far. It's gone too far. And then you've got Shams on Pat McAfee's nationally televised ESPN show. They're outside Indiana, and Shams is cooking them in a way where he's telling the world, yo, they're reaching out to teams, and teams are not just saying no, they're saying F no. They're making fun of you. They're laughing at you. They're mocking you. Sir Charles Barkley, is on the floor at the finals and takes the mic. He says, the Knicks got to be the stupidest damn people in the world to not have a plan. And, you know, I hear people trying to rationalize this and say they have a plan. They don't have a sound plan. They don't have a concrete plan. I tried to take my own life experience and apply it to this, which is completely different. But I said on Twitter earlier, you ever quit a job with no job lined up? You're just done being at that job. You're done being where you are. That's the Knicks with Tom Thibodeau. We're done with this coach. We're done with him leading us. This is as far as we're going to go. I said, you're confident you'll find something else, but you have no exact plan of where to next. That's the Knicks. They're the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. And they're mighty as they've been in a quarter century. So they're confident that with their brand, their fans, their money, their status, their arena, the players on their team, that they're going to find the next guy. They're going to figure it out. And that's why I said, when you quit a job, I've quit 2 jobs in my life without something else because there was just a gut feeling, a pit in my stomach. I can't work here another day. I can't be here another hour. I don't care what the future holds. I know the future is going to be better than this. I'm confident in myself and my abilities. That's the Knicks right now. So the plan is to figure it out. The plan is to find a path to the next coach. That's where the Knicks are right now. They're casting a wide net. They're looking for a path to their next coach. They're going to find a way. And you know what? They don't need a coach today. They don't need a coach in July. They don't need one in all. Like, they have time. But the thing that bothers me, or the thing that confuses me, is why'd you get rid of this guy so fast? Because now there are also reports coming out about the players, right? There's a whole narrative about players forcing him out, and I'm not going for it. I just can't. I've heard these guys ride for him too much. As soon as the news broke, Josh Hart was tweeting like, "Thank you for everything." After Game 6, the captain of the team was offended about even being asked if this was the guy to lead them to a championship. But now there's a narrative about like team building, and like the narrative is, and I guess you can blame Mikal Bridges, and they're certainly going to blame Karl Anthony Towns. Oh, he got Tibbs fired twice. Maybe even OG. Or maybe even some of the bench players, because the narrative is you can't build a team with this guy. The bench guys don't want to come back and play for Tibbs because they're going to ride Pine. And we got to build a deeper bench, right, to compete with the OKCs, to compete with the Pacers. We got to add some talented guys to the roster that Tibbs will trust and play, but there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that we can get those guys, because there's no guarantee that those guys are going to come here, because they're not going to be guaranteed to play. You know, we can't build a deeper bench with this guy. They keep bringing up that like the players voted, the coach that they'd least likely to play for in the NBA, all the NBA players that voted for Tom Thibodeau. 888-808-1019. If you're a Knicks fan now, you got to be a little bit shook. You got to be a little bit worried. And like now, you got to just laugh at the pain. You got to just laugh it off. Ian Begley's out there reporting, Ian Begley just put out, the Knicks have reached out to several teams to request permission to speak with their head coaches. For those keeping score at home, New York, as of late tonight, has not reached out yet to Golden State for permission to speak to Steve Kerr. Well, we've only just begun. It's a new day today. They can reach out to him today. And then I can't help but think, like I made the prom analogy before. All right, you ask all the baddies, you ask all the tens, right? You start at the, you still dating him? Oh, you still going to the prom? Oh, that's still your man? Oh, all right. You got it. I just had to do my due diligence. The Knicks are doing their due diligence with all the hottest girls in school. But then they're going to default into the unemployed coaches, the coaches that and Mike Malone, they're saying, is off the board, but you can easily default into a Mike Malone, a Taylor Jenkins. Full Court Pass said, I would be surprised, and this is from Ian Begley, a quote, "I would be surprised if the Knicks don't at least have a conversation with Mike Woodson." Okay. Ian Begley also said that the Knicks have interest in Mike Brown. Yeah, they have interest in everybody. They're going to interview everybody. This is going to be a deeper search than the Jets had with the 33rd team. Remember we were talking about the Jets? They interviewed the coach from Maryland. I'm like, what are they doing? It felt like they didn't know. It felt like they didn't know, but maybe the Jets have the right coach. Maybe the Jets have the right GM after leaving no stone unturned. But this just doesn't strike anyone as a full-blown plan. This doesn't strike anyone as, okay, this is what these guys were thinking between Saturday when they lost and I think Tuesday when they fired the coach. In that many days, they came up with a plan to check on all these other head coaches across the league. It doesn't make sense. And I don't think it's going to bode well. I don't think it's going to yield the results that you want. I think you're going to default into a coach that's going to be happy to take the job because it's somebody that doesn't have a job that's out of the league and would love to be back in the league. And of course, to be at the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, the Knicks, all-stars on this team. But the bar for that coach is set at NBA Finals. You got to get to the NBA Finals. And the last thing before we get to the calls, even going back to myself and my own experience talking about quitting jobs, it's always crazy until it works. Your internal plans, your internal thoughts, when you share them with other people, you're nuts. I remember, rest in peace to my brother. When I worked at MTV, my brother said, stay, you'll work your way up. Stay, you'll get promoted. Stay. And I'm like, nah, bro. I don't want to be here. It's going to take mad long. And I don't see the future here. I'm out. I was right. Even when I worked at Rock Nation, sports agency, music label, for Hove, working with Saquon. I'm working with Todd Gurley. I'm working with Leonard Fournette. You know what I'm saying? I'm working with NFL players. I'm running into Yo Gotti and Fat Joe, Jay Electronica in the building. I'm like, yo, I made it. Jaden Smith is performing in the conference room my first day on the job. I'm like, I'm in a movie. But ultimately, it wasn't for me. I didn't last long there. It was like short-lived where I just had to go. And I remember telling my family members, what happened? I quit. I left. Why? I wasn't feeling it. I don't need to get deep into it. I have a plan. What's your plan? You don't have a job lined up. What are you going to do? I'm going to win. I'm going to find a way to win. I promise you. Don't worry about me. I will exhaust myself until I find a way to win. And that's what the Knicks have to do. 888-808-1019. Let's get to the phones. Keith McPherson on the fan. My guy Ray in Brooklyn. I know I could talk to Ray.
What's going on, Keith? How are you tonight, bro?
Great, man. These 2-hour shows, I'm like, this is nothing, bro. I hit this quick and move right out of the way.
Yeah, that's that easy money. Like KD would say, easy money sniper.
Oh, well, at least we know. I'm glad you brought up KD because we did get that news, too. The Knicks are not in on trading for KD. They are not looking to make that KD trade. That was an in-season thing when they didn't believe in this team, but they started to believe in this team once we got to May.
Keith, listen to what you just said and everything you've been saying. I wish I could push back, but I can't. The way they mishandled Tom Thibodeau and now the coaching, put quotes on search, right, is embarrassing. It's pathetic. And the fact that they didn't believe in this team that was one lucky bounce away from probably winning, that series and maybe the championship because OKC looks like a bunch of front-running, children led by SGA who got 6 turnovers and he didn't show up at all in crunch time. Like the Knicks were this close to winning the title, and the fact that this leadership, and put quotes on that too with the leadership, we're looking to change the team dramatically, drastically mid-season would tell you they don't know what the hell they're doing. It's the players, the leader, Jalen Brunson, probably the best leader, on any team in the league, that got the Knicks where they got them, and Tom Thibodeau. It was Thibodeau and the players. Had nothing to do with Leon Rose, had nothing to do with James Dolan. The Knicks were winning in spite of them, and they didn't win because the Pacers are deeper. Who's that indictment on? That indictment is on the guy who gets you the players.
Who built
Leon
the team.
Rose.
Yeah, not to cut you off, Ray, but Rick Pitino got on BT and Sal, and he had a hell of a quote. I've used it all week. He said Tom Thibodeau was handcuffed by 7.5 players.
Dude, the bench is laughable. And if some of these bums on the bench said they didn't want to play for Thibodeau, and they based even 1% of their decision on this bench to get rid of Thibodeau, dude, I don't want to see Leon Rose's face anymore. If the Knicks do not win the title next year, he needs to be held accountable to the standard of the singular thing of winning the title. I want this guy gone if we don't win the title this year, because that pivotal thing, it's supposed to be, we fired you because you didn't attain the singular goal. So that means everybody else in this organization has to be held to that too. And you know what? Like I said, Keith, I wish I could push back, but the way they have been handling this is so embarrassing. I'll take the slings and arrows because there's nothing I can do to defend it. And as far as like the Yankees, real quick, listen, you know I love my Yankees, man. So I just want to shout out the Yankees because in spite of all the significant injuries, this team has 25 losses, and the team with the best record in the league has 24. And people who are killing Boone, like, just relax. What do you want the guy to do? The guy is missing an all-star roster, essentially, in starting pitching, and you got Stanton, and you have Jazz who's been banged up. I don't think that the Yankees could have been any better in the standings, way out in front of first place, the best plus-minus in the league. Like, right now, I think, it's great for the Yankees. I just don't know what else to say. People who have been trashing Aaron Boone, watch out, because you were doing that to Thibodeau too, and look what happened with the Knicks. So
yeah, but Boone is safe. Thanks for the call, Ray. 888-808-1019. What everyone is saying is you don't fire your coach when you get to the Eastern Conference Finals Game 6. And if the team that defeated you goes on to win the championship, it just looks like an even worse move. It looks like a knee-jerk overreaction type move. And as far as Aaron Boone and Yankee fans are going to complain. When I did my 5-hour KM to AM Monday just to pass the time in the off day, I complained. We were going to complain. And then I just came back around to it. I'm like, well, damn, I guess they had a reason to rest Jazz on Saturday. He's hurt twice in this series. He's exiting the game early twice in this series. And of course, they're going to pick at the bullpen. But now I'm looking at this bullpen. Jake Cousins just had a setback. So forget about Jake Cousins. Now I'm like, how do we maneuver with this bullpen? When is Luis Heel coming back? Marcus Stroman is with the Somerset Patriots. He's coming back. And, we'll play some audio from Marcus Stroman. I want to go back in time to February and play what Marcus Stroman said in spring training and then bring it to present day. And you can hear the contrast in his tone and in what he's talking about. But they need answers. And what it is obviously Luke Weaver. You see his value. When you don't have him, you got to be careful with that bullpen. And, ultimately, when guys don't perform, that's not on Boone. Mark Leiter Jr., go in there, make plays, get outs. We shouldn't have had to burn Devin Williams, and I hope they don't burn Devin Williams, because that goes back to something else that I was saying, right? Like, if Devin Williams comes into the game, it doesn't matter. Well, they took the series. I would like, selfishly, to sweep the Royals, but if Devin Williams comes into the game and throws 8 pitches, he's got to be available tomorrow in a close game to get it done. But you know what else I said? I don't want to worry about the bullpen. So just go in there and score 10 runs, 6 runs, and then we don't really got to worry about how things get sorted at the end, how, we figure this out, whether it's De Los Santos, whether it's Brett Hedrick, whether it's Mark Leiter Jr. Let's go to Bob in Keyport on the Fan next. Bob, what's up? You got it.
How you doing, Keith?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, just a couple of Yankees points and then Nick's point.
Okay.
First of all, on the Yankees, how good do you feel about the fact that they were singling around, getting everybody home on singles today instead of just playing long ball?
Oh, great.
Besides, of course,
they're having much better at bats. I don't know if I said it in my open, but they are not just swing happy, eager beavers swinging at the first pitch. They're making guys pitch 8, 9 pitch at bats. In this game alone, you had singles, you had doubles, triples, and then obviously Judge is trying to go get that triple crown. He hits another home run. He's got 25 on the season. You love to see it. I enjoyed watching that second inning because, I felt like that second inning against Bubic, who's been really good, I'm like, that's demoralizing for this guy.
Yeah, just another point. How mad are you at the umpires from taking away 2 great Grisham catch calls from Dave Sims?
It's just stupid. That's why I was like, I don't know what game they're watching. Because when I'm watching the game, I'm like, it is 2025. we have.
Yeah, they moved Judge Bat for him for no reason.
It's just stupid, and like I'm getting tired of it with MLB. Not just the strike zone, but now stuff in the field. Get it right, and also if you like, I'm in my crib. I'm in New Jersey watching the game. You're in Missouri. You're on the field. You can't see the game right in front of you. You don't trust the players. Also, Trent Grisham is gonna tell you. I don't know. I just think it's stupid. It holds up the game, and I think it goes back to this like ego and this complex that these umpires have, and none of them are good enough to have any type of ego or complex.
100%. And now on the Knicks, do you think they're just playing some game with us where they have a random guy they're going to pull out? So they go and ask everybody first just to say, well, we asked them, what should we have done? We asked everybody. No one, so we're going to pick this random guy.
No, I think we want to give them this type of like grace. We want to give them this type of, oh, well, they got this far. They're smarter. Like, no. This smells of scrambling. This smells of making it up as you go, improving, freestyling, trying to figure this thing out. This smells of, we had our exit meetings. And going into those exit meetings, Tom Thibodeau thought he was going to continue on. He had an extension 8 months ago. Like this reeks of the plan. Now we need a new plan. Thanks for the call, Bob. 888-808-1019. But there's so many people that love the Knicks. There's so many people that enjoyed this run in this season. They don't want to go back to the LOL Knicks laughing stock, being mocked. But that's what's going on. Shams on Pat McAfee today. And then Charlestown, I'm like, wow, the Knicks had a run, and it shows you how it's Knicks for clicks and how many people hate the Knicks. The Knicks had a run this year that people envied and hated, and people hated to see y'all in the streets partying, going viral with those videos, celebrating at home, hugging your family members. The Knicks are back. The Knicks beat the Celtics. The Knicks have a chance to go to the finals. People didn't like that. They weren't feeling that. They're loving this because this is how they viewed the Knicks. Here in New York in this last 5 years, we viewed the Knicks as relevant again, competent, making the right moves, being competitive, shaking the old narrative. And there's people that want to point at Dolan. There's people I don't know. Somebody said something to me today. Did you talk to Leon Rose? No, nobody talks to Leon Rose, bro. He doesn't talk. He doesn't do media. And I think too many times we make this we make this assumption of like, oh, Leon Rose has got millions of dollars. Leon Rose doesn't need this job. He'd walk away from it. No, he wouldn't. No, this is his era of the New York Knicks. That's a great job to have. Maybe it's a passion project. Maybe he is hard pressed on being the guy that wins a championship with the Knicks. So. None of this, you can't tell me, and I get it. I've heard it. I think Evan was talking about, they're doing their due diligence and they're checking all nah, it reeks of, okay, we're going to come on, bro. We're going to ask all of these coaches, ask all of these teams. And you know what? These teams are laughing at the Knicks too. It's a hard no because they don't want to help you. One, they don't want to help you because you're the New York Knicks, worth what you're worth with the fans that you have, the brand that you have. And two, you're a good team. You were just 2 wins away from the NBA Finals. They're not trying to help you now. You fired your coach. You deal with that. So more and more, I just think they're going to hire either an unemployed coach that nobody wants or an unnamed. Maybe Johnny Bryan is sitting at home with his pajamas inside out and his fingers crossed, hoping that it lands on him. Tony in Montreal back on the fan before we break. Tony, how are you?
How you doing, man? Keith, what do you think? I think you're spot on because when they fire coaches in the NHL, they always have a backup. They have someone in the American Hockey League. They always have an assistant coach on the bench that's got 20 years experience.
An heir to the throne. Coach.
They always have.
Yep.
Yeah, like my buddy, my line mate, Greg Cronin, he played with me, and he did all kinds of assistant coaching jobs, and then he got a head coaching job in Anaheim, and then he had some problems, and they turfed him, but he's going to be back in. So, in the NBA, isn't there a pool of great assistants, or do you have to go back into college basketball to get someone? And, of course, in college basketball, the guys are making $20 million. They're not going to leave. So, like you said, it's like you need like a crisis manager to fix this problem right now.
Yeah, for sure. The thing is, of course, right? Some are saying that this is actually a weak, class of potential hires. Of course, there's some up and coming guys like a Johnny Bryant, or you could try and lure a Dan Hurley. But this is the New York Knicks. This is a team that got to the Eastern Conference Finals and fired their coach. This isn't some team that was in the lottery. This isn't some team that missed the playoffs looking to hire another guy. Like, this isn't the Phoenix Suns looking to start over. This is a New York Knicks team that is ready to win with a fan base that expects them to win. And that's a lot of pressure for the next guy. And that's why I think they're starting with the made men, the guys that are in the NBA that have done it. We're checking in on these guys with experience first. But when you tell me that was your plan, you tell me you went through the exit meetings, decided
There's no way.
I'm not buying it.
No, listen. I just want to say one thing. You got it. You're a New York guy. You think about Vegas putting down minus 700 on the Pacers winning, and they're 2 wins away. You know what that means? The Pacers are on a heater. And we say that in hockey. You're on a heater. Nothing matters. You can run people down. And you know what? This Knicks team, okay, is like, for me, looking at just athletes. They knocked out, they slayed the Dragon, they beat the Celtics, they beat the world champion. Like in boxing, when you beat the world champion, you're the linear champ. And then, of course, the Pacers knocked out the guys that beat the champ, so they're the linear champ. OK is thinking, well, these guys are gonna lay down for us. They're minus 700. Guess what? Siakam's already won a championship, and there's great guys like Mathurin on that thing. And when you get that heater going, when you're a football player and you guys are playing a motivated game, going in one direction, you can win it no matter what the odds are. I just want to say it's a sad thing that they fired Tibbs. Even though I don't know a lot about basketball, I thought the guy was a general on a thing. And all the criticism that you hear, it's hand-wringing. I didn't hear that criticism when he beat the Celtics. It's hypocritical, Keith, that you dump a guy, you criticize a guy after he loses to a team that's on a heater, and then while you beat the Celtics, you thought he was like walking on water.
Oh, yeah. I was hosting the show. Thanks for the call, Tony. Oh, he's out coaching Joe Mazzulla. Oh, Tibbs is doing the unthinkable. Look at this defense. They came back from 20 points down twice. And now they're piling on to say, oh, he ran his guys into the ground. Oh, nobody wants to play for him. Oh, he's a dinosaur. He thinks he's coaching in the 90s. Now to cope, to make it feel better. Now to save face. It's not great. Only time will tell, though. Only time will tell. Like I said, right now the Knicks look crazy. They look insane right now to me. But all the people that take a risk and succeed in life, the idea is crazy at first. They doubt you. They look at you like you've lost your mind. Time will tell if the Knicks actually find the right guy and put the pieces together correctly to go on to the NBA Finals and potentially win it. And we got a whole year for that. 888-808-1019. I've got less than 90 minutes of this show left. Please call up if you'd like to talk to me. Keith McPherson on the Fan. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back.
You're juggling work, life, and imploding bullpens. We get it. And we got
I'm muted. So my little workaround is my little USB mic is janky, but I know I went on YouTube today and I listened to the show. The callers come in much clearer because what you're hearing is a microphone with headphones on it. So it's directly putting the sound into the mic and it's clearer versus the mic being here on my MacBook and then the subwoofer putting sound all into this room. So
let me know if it's loud. Let me know if it doesn't sound right. It is a workaround for right now. It took 4 months to figure out that workaround, but like I have another trick up my sleeve for what I want to do to fix the audio. Let me hit this chat quick and go backwards. What's up, Keith? Big fan of yours. Knicks dropped the ball on fire and Tibbs. Mel, what's good, bro? Appreciate it. I just think it doesn't look right for an organization that did everything right, for an organization that we were singing their praises. The Knicks are back. Look at what they've done in these last few years. They beat the Celtics this year. They did the unthinkable. And then they also did the unthinkable by not following it up, not staying the course, not seeing it through, not running it back. Judge number 25, facts. Salute, bro. Judge coming for Cal Raleigh in that Triple Crown. Did Cal Raleigh homer today? Let me go to the stats. Cal Raleigh had 26 homers. Yeah, Judge on his heels. Judge on his heels. Judge, once Judge gets with him, it's on, bro. I was talking to one of my homies today. I've already been to a bunch of games. I'm not counting how many games, and I'm also not flexing. But I'm like, bro, if this is a year where Judge wins the Triple Crown, MVP, and actually has it in October, I'm like, we got to go to these games, bro. I'm like, we got to go to these games. Like, this could be the year. I'm aging out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be doing this when I'm 40, 45, 50. While I'm still young and able-bodied, I'm like, we got to go to the stadium, bro. If Judge wins the Triple Crown this year and, like, doesn't fold in October and silences everybody and shuts them up, we got to go to the stadium, bro. And, like, I'm telling my mans this because, like, he lives further out. I'm like, bro, I live an hour from the stadium on the train or car. I'm going to the stadium. I'm going by myself. I'm not gonna sell you on it. I'm telling you, we're watching we're watching history. We're watching the potentially the best hitting season ever. And if this guy has it in October and can power the Yankees to a World Series, let alone a Subway Series, bro, I'm like, we gotta go, bro. We gotta be in the Bronx. So, love your show, but you gotta chill about Judge. No, there's nothing to chill about. Judge is otherworldly at this point, correct? Everyone has to rise. And Keith for the Judge, sir. Yeah, bro, like, I am washed. I got a whole kid, but, like, I'll still get to the stadium. I'll still get to the stadium to see history, right? We may never see this again. What if this is the year that Judge has it in October? All right, let me go further back. KM on the AM, KM to the AM, KM till the AM. Just KM to AM. Like, when I throw the logo up, check me out. Like, when I throw the logo up, the logo is just whoop, KM to AM. It don't even say TO, just KM to AM. All right, let's get back to it. So, Mr. Cal. I forget what Mystical did, but he got locked for something sketchy. Anyway, Keith McPherson on the Fan, 888-808-1019.
The Fan in New York, man. We're going to talk about the New York Knicks, but I'm a baseball fan. I watched the Yankee game. I watched the Met game. It is so hard watching both games. I know I've been doing this for 4 years, but it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch both games, take notes on both games, and then be the first voice on talking about them. But they were good games tonight. David Peterson was amazing tonight. Clark Schmidt too. Clark Schmidt's arsenal of pitching, like, someone just told me, oh, we should trade Clark Schmidt. I'm like, I don't know about that. Homegrown. You know, even though Clark Schmidt is not a younger guy, he is homegrown. That's another thing I love about these Yankees. They have a lot of homegrown talent. They have a lot of guys that are young and helping, as well as like a homegrown guy like Aaron Judge. So a good win for the Yankees out there. Starting pitching goes 6 innings. Clark had everything going. And that knuckle curve, 4-seam fastball. Like I said, his sinker, his cutter. What else he throws? His arsenal is just he's a pitcher, man. and we've watched Clark grow up into this. I'm happy that he's starting to get to 6 innings consistently now, and he needed a good outing. And the Yankees hitting, the Yankees just having 1 inning that pretty much wins them the game. It gets a little wonky with the bullpen, but whatever. My hope is that Devin Williams is available tomorrow if need be. But I also know the Yankees aren't tripping off of like sweeping the Kansas City Royals in the season series. You know, like that they took the series from them. They haven't lost to them all year. They're not a threat. They're not a threat. 888-808-1019. Maybe Will Warren can just pitch a complete game against Seth Lugo, and you know Seth Lugo is going to be ready to go. Speaking of pitching a complete game, David Peterson, amazing. David Peterson, unsung hero, not talked about enough. And like I said, on a night where, you know, they used Reed Garrett last night, 2 nights ago now, they used Edwin Diaz. You know, they're even throwing guys out there now like Justin Garza. David Peterson says, I got it. No, like I got it. What do you throw, 106 pitches? He's like, yeah, I got it, yo. I can throw the whole game. And I think I was listening to the post game. He threw a complete game in college. That was the last time he did it. But like, what a break to give the bullpen the night off and be ready to sweep them at home. And like, I don't care if you hate the Mets. I don't hate the Mets. These are my Mets. They literally are. Like, I take ownership to that. Like, I didn't grow up watching the Mets, but this iteration of Steve Cohen's Mets from like 2021, since I got on the fan to now, like I've watched these Mets. I've read, you know, the reports on these Mets. I've watched this team. Like I've never known more about a Mets team in any other years. Like when they do their alumni game, I'm not going to an alumni game. I wasn't checking for those guys. Congratulations to young Francisco Alvarez. He's a father now. He's going to come back with some dad strength. Him and his partner, Naomi, they had a daughter. So he'll be coming back. And yeah, I don't know how much time I have tonight. There was an article, and I was talking about this yesterday, the importance of Starlin Marte. Not just that walk he had yesterday, but I was talking about how Starlin Marte, being friends with Juan Soto, was instrumental in getting him through just his first couple months transitioning into being a forever Met. Transitioning into, hey, this is what we do here. You homer, look at the camera, pose. You got a nice one tonight. And I know I told y'all, now start betting on Juan Soto. What I say? 1, the weather's warm. 2, he's going to make a push to be an all-star. Juan Soto is about himself. He doesn't want to miss the all-star game. He wants to be there. He's at the all-star game every year. I haven't put a bet on Juan Soto since Friday of the Subway Series. I'm like, I got to get back on my game. I'm telling everybody else, start betting on him now. He's going to homer. He's going to drive the ball. He's going to get on. So him, Brandon Nimmo, they were great tonight. And the Mets win. The Yankees win. The Mets are rolling 20 games over 500. The Mets are rolling. They play so well in Citi Field. If you're a fan, you know, your owner called you out about going to the place. And you should go. You know, you should go see it for yourself. Like I said, if you went back-to-back nights, you see a walk-off one night, make it happen Mets, never say die. Then you see a masterful, like when you get to go to a game and see a complete game shutout from a starting pitcher, that's something you're not going to forget. 5-game win streak, 20 games over 500 with a 5-game lead in the division. 888-808-1019. You guys want to talk about the Knicks, though, and that's fine. I said the Sunday after the Knicks loss, if you're tired of the Knicks conversation, strap in. Because now that they're good, and I didn't even know they were going to fire the coach, but I'm like, now that they're good, they are going to be in the conversation on WFAN every single day. And now that they fired the coach and the way that they're going about this coaching search, they're the lead story because we're getting updates, not just daily, we're getting updates every other hour. We're getting updates on who they're checking. And I don't know if, you know, I'm not trying to like conspiracy theory this where like, oh, maybe they're doing this or maybe this is a way that during the finals they stay in the headlines. No, I think this is a way that they cast a wide net. I think this is a way that they collect information. I equated it to the Jets, right? The Jets, Woody Johnson, the 33rd team. They did not know who they were going to hire. Of course, Aaron Glenn was a shiny hiring a former Jet and a guy but like the Knicks can just hire a Johnny Bryant or just hire a Mike Malone, but still do your due diligence. And that's the only thing that I can point to and say they're doing their due diligence. They're leaving no stone unturned. The 33rd team interviewed so many guys, and the Knicks haven't started interviewing guys. But the first step is let's request to interview. Let's request to talk. We get denied from these guys. We check those guys off. And then we go to the next bucket of available coaches. We talk to all of them. And then we collect data. Are the players going to be in on these meetings? Are the players going to, if the players are the ones that forced the current head coach that got you here out, are the players going to be in on the process of finding the next head coach and weighing in on what they want and how they want to be coached and how they want to be played and how many minutes they're going to play? Like, you might need that. I mean, I would definitely want to know about Jalen Brunson and Rick Brunson's thought. Is it a guarantee that Rick Brunson's going to be on whoever's staff? No. 888-808-1019. Tom is in West Haven, Connecticut on the Fan next.
Hey, Keith. How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Listen, thank you very much for taking my call. I really appreciate it. So here's my gist is obviously the Knicks needed some change. So my thing is maybe they got together with Tibbs, and you know and I know as Knicks fans that they needed some change. That
I'm a Knicks fan, but I'm watching them very closely. Yes,
but he needs to evolve. He needs to evolve, and maybe just maybe the manager, when he was talking with the management, maybe he said he wasn't going to change anything. So he did need to change some stuff, and if he said he wasn't going to change anything, then he had to go.
No, I don't. Let's go. I mean, we can't.
I don't. Honestly, I don't know. Nobody has really said.
Look what he did in the Eastern Conference Finals. He did change. He changed the starting five, and he changed the rotations, and he went to the bench. So I highly doubt he's in exit meeting saying, "I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to change."
No. I appreciate what you're saying, but I mean, throughout the year, so there are things that he needed to do. And basically, different sport. Tom Coughlin, he needed to change his coaching style, and he did. Maybe Thibodeau said, "I'm not going to do that." Maybe I'm not going to do that with the players, with the egos, and all that other stuff that they have going on. Maybe he said, "No, I'm not going to do that." And
thanks for the call, Tom. I'm sorry. I don't. Why would he push back? He wants to win. He's a smart coach. Now, to equate it to football, equate it to Bill Parcells. You want me to cook the dinner? Well, let me go shopping for the groceries. The guy's not going to play guys that he doesn't trust. And you know what else I heard people do? Inflate the Delon Wrights and Landry Shamits of the world as if he should have been playing them sooner. Or Precious Achua. I don't think this guy is combative. I don't think this guy has an ego to the point where he's telling them, "No, you're wrong." I think he's telling them, "Listen, I'm trying to win games. I'm trying to win as many games as possible." And you know, it was evident in that Celtics series, even Game 6, for safety reasons, he should have taken his starters off the floor. And he wouldn't even do it because he wanted to be sure that the win was secured. But when you're desperate in Game 3 and you're facing being down 3-0, you go to what you got to go to in foul trouble and you go to the bench and it works and you win that game. Then you're able to say, okay, I understand. I don't look at Tom Thibodeau as a guy that was telling Leon Rose, Worldwide West, James Dolan, or pushing like the players talked about it. Bridges talked about it during the season, playing the bench. Josh Hart talked about coming off the bench and sacrificing. I think he would bend. I think he would change if he had the pieces. And like he talked about, this is a big offseason for us. We've got the draft. We've got free agency. We've got development. He talked about developing his own players. He talked about getting some more players through the draft and free agency. He thought he was going to be here because he had an extension. And I think that through the exit meetings and some players expressing certain things,
And then ultimately at the top, James Dolan saying, nah, I've heard enough. I've got enough opinions that say that you're not the guy. You're not willing to change. I don't think it was Tom Thibodeau pushing back. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's out. He's been gone for a week. And I bet you he's kind of smiling somewhere. He's probably got a little bit of a smirk on his face. You could have just kept me. You could have just worked. What would have been easier? Working with me and getting me the pieces and me adapting and evolving and changing some, or you being embarrassed as you go knock on doors and check with every franchise and every coach to be told no. 888-808-1019. Steven is in.
Hey, how you doing?
I thought that was a snore, Steven. I was like, Steven came in hot.
No, that was me. Not me. No. Wide awake. No apnea here.
Okay, go for it.
I wanted to say, I have your take. First of all, I think, quite frankly, it's so obnoxious on Dolan's part to do this to his fans. Like, would it have been so bad to have somebody else lined up, a nice and shiny coach?
What was the
rush?
Roll out. Even if you didn't, what was the rush? You could have fired him tomorrow. You could have fired him tomorrow. You could have fired him after the finals. Yeah. You could have fired him next month if you didn't like him. Like, that's why people think it's a knee-jerk reaction. Like, it is wrong to do that to your fans. You just came off the disappointment of losing. Now you're in this purgatory.
A fan base that was starving for attention. And honestly, I have to say, Keith, I never bought in. I always thought, you know what, this is gonna blow up. You know why? Because Dolan can't help himself. He's got to get his paws in there. When they're terrible, he was able to stay away. The minute they start getting attention, he's got to get some of it. He's got to be in. He's got to
because they're his Knicks. He owns the Garden.
Yes.
They're his team.
And
ultimately, I think he got close to the finals. Like I said, thanks for the call, Steven. Here, I sent in a headshot and submitted for an NBA Finals credential. I was rooting for the Knicks to go to the finals. I wanted to go. I'm not a Knicks fan, but I'm like, hey, they get to the finals. I'm at the finals, baby. And when the Knicks lost, that email came back and rejected. Your home team will not be hosting the finals. Think about how many emails and things Dolan and the Garden were going through potentially to host the finals. And he had to sit on the floor and watch the Knicks lose to the Pacers the first two games of the Eastern Conference Finals at home. And that first one was an all-time gut punch. That gets you feeling some type of way. I remember I had a caller say, what do you mean when you say feeling some type of way? Not a good way. That gets you feeling some type of way like somebody's got to pay for this. This is not good enough. Who's responsible for this? Well, you can't kick Karl Anthony Towns to the curb, Mikal Bridges to the curb, OG Anunoby to the curb, Brunson, Hart, Mitchell Rob. But when you talk to them, if they are not 100% behind the coach and you already don't like the coach, he becomes the fall guy. But I just think it was ill-advised to do it so quickly because in the days to follow, you're showing us all that you don't really know. You're showing the world. And don't tell me that there's this like smarter, like they're not that smart. Don't tell me that there's this scheme and there's this 4D chess that they're playing and you just wait and see how smart Leon Rose and no. I think right now they're saying, well, damn, we're back to the drawing board. We're starting from scratch. And the third best team in the NBA in this market shouldn't be starting from scratch when you had a head coach and now you don't have a head coach and nobody's going to help you get one. Ross is in Bergen County on the Fan next. Before we get to the break, Ross, what you thinking?
Keith, my man, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. So, you're talking about getting sick of the Knicks conversation. Me, a Knicks fan, I'm almost getting sick of the Knicks conversation, the Dibs conversation. But
I'm not. I know some people want to talk Yankees and Mets. I will talk this Knicks stuff because it is compelling. It is unprecedented, actually, because nobody has ever done it.
Today it got compelling. That's where I agree with you, man. I've been talking about, I can't even remember the last time I called in about it. I did talk about baseball with you, even the Crider news, but I know that's kind of second fiddle now.
until it actually happens. But today all of a sudden now I said I have to speak on this. I even replied to you. So you see the thing I sent you, the who want me 100%.
Yeah,
no.
hilarious. Like that
It's
meme is hilarious. Who want me? No one.
and one more thing. You know what? When I see Chris Finch and Udoka and Jason Kidd, because that one felt like that one could have been a possibility. That one was looming. I guess those make sense, even though Chris Finch doesn't really make sense. Because if you're looking at, and I'm speaking me being someone who agreed with letting go with Dibs, it makes no sense to bring in Chris Finch, who's someone who's proved 2 years in a row now that his peak is the the Western Conference Finals. So it just kind of seems like a parallel move.
They're giving us the okey doke. They know who they want, but they're gonna throw people off their scent. They're gonna send requests to the entire NBA just to hire Johnny Bryant.
Bro, every 29 other teams. I mean, they lost at Quinn Snyder. What in the belief does Quinn Snyder
Billy Donovan did it for me tonight. I'm like, enough already. Billy Donovan.
I mean, bro, and look, none of these teams, bro, but I can't even tell you the Wizards coach. It's not like they're going to let him interview. I mean, maybe they will, but I mean, it's like what is going on with Donovan?
Yordi Fernandez.
Bro, I'm saying, now, hold on. Now, this is where I kind of hesitate, because now if we're looking back at coaches that, actually won rings, you got Steve Kerr, Tyronn Lue. I mean, they're not even bothering with them. And then I kind of pumped the brakes a little bit, because the last two before those were Mike Budenholzer, Frank Vogel. And those are guys, I think I called you once. I said the one thing I'm looking at, I'm not touching anybody that just coached for the Phoenix Suns in the last 5 years, which I think is 5 people. It's like you ever see Grandpa Simpson walk in, walk out, like put his hat down, pick it up, and walk out. That's what they got going on. And hell, they didn't even do that, because this is you always hear about teams requesting interviews. I didn't hear it once with Phoenix. The only thing I ever heard was they interviewed Johnny Bryant and the guy they hired, Jordan Ott, whatever his name is. I don't remember them asking to interview Eric Spoelstra and Steve Kerr. I mean, this is insane, bro. And now I'm thinking, we're talking about the Mike Malones and Taylor Jenkins of the world that you don't need team permission to interview. Let's say they were both still in Denver and Memphis, respectively. You're telling me they're going running to Atlanta for Quinn Snyder before they go to Denver for Michael Malone?
No,
so
it's
now
just
in reality, they don't even need to interview.
You start with the guys that are under contract with organizations. You have a whole offseason to potentially hire someone that is a free agent.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm just looking at, there's like I brought up the vote. I'm telling you, bro, it's going to be somebody. I don't know if it'll be Vogel or Budenholzer, one of those two. I feel like it's like someone who's wandered the league that nobody's talking about. One name that comes to mind that I don't think anybody's brought up for whatever reason comes to me is Steve Clifford. Remember, I think he was with Orlando, Charlotte. I said, watch that be the guy. And one more thing, and I appreciate the time, man. I just brought up Phoenix before. We got one team already that brought in a heavily, for the lack of a better term, canceled. Not like online for saying anything, but in terms of like being a horrible coach. Discredited at MSG in David Quinn. And I don't know if you saw, speaking of the Phoenix Suns, they let go of another guy named David who used to coach at MSG, and David Fizdale. I swear to you, bro, if he gets into this conversation, even if he becomes an assistant, because David Quinn already got brought back under Mike Sullivan's staff. He's not the head coach, but he's back behind our bench, all these years later, all these things we said about him, bro. If you see David Fizdale on the sideline next year, that would be full circle James Dolan. And it's so crazy, man. You saw the video of James Dolan handing out the basketballs to the little kids out, outside MSG. Everybody talking about like the comeback story for Dolan. Mm-hmm. And now I think at this point it's beyond evident that this was his move. Just kind of like the sheer, coming from me.
I said it from the jump. It didn't make any sense, bro. Thanks for the call, Ross. I said it from the beginning. And I went back, if you follow me on Twitter, @Keith_McPherson, I went back to 7 days ago. And there was a post where it's like, Evan says that, Dolan had nothing to do with this. Keith says, it's clear that it had. Come on. Leon Rose gave him a contract extension 8 months ago. Like, it's from the top. This is the owner of the team saying, not good enough. Your head has to roll because of this. But here's the question for the Knicks fans. Like, this seems difficult now. This is such a delicate situation. You can't just put anyone in this seat. The players got to want to play for him. The fans got to accept him. He's got to go out there and get the job done. He's got to get to the finals. Like, this is tough. When have just been easier to go another year with Tom Thibodeau that you were already paying for and run it back with this group, try and make this group better? I don't know. 888-808-1019. I've got 1 hour left on the fan. Keith McPherson, KM to AM, back right after this.
It's Boomer and Gio, mornings on the Fan, 1019 FM.
I think that everybody who is watching this coaching search and watching what has gone on is now saying this reminds me of what the Knicks used to be. It was a rudderless ship with a
I'm a Mets fan, but having severe relationship problems with the Mets. Yankees just look better and more confident. What, in the Subway Series? Are you trolling? The Mets look great. And I know they're coming off playing the Rockies and the Nationals, but like they have a 5-game win streak. Juan Soto is happy. Like, isn't that what y'all wanted? Some of y'all wanted Juan Soto to be happy more than you wanted wins. Some of y'all wanted to see Juan Soto homer more than you wanted win. Like, you just watched a walk-off win, and then the next night a complete game shutout to take the series against a division rival. The Yankees have more problems than it seems. And I mean, the Yankees are fine, but I'm just replying to your statement. The Yankees look more confident. Like, the bullpen right now, when you get to the end of the game, like, they can cruise. You get to the end of the game, and the game, like, I'm sitting in my apartment, like, why does this have to be so difficult? They can't field. Mark Leiter Jr. can't field his position. He gets one out. You have to go to Devin Williams. And I bet you tomorrow they say, oh, yeah, Devin Williams not available after he throws 8 pitches. Like, Peraza, I'm good on Peraza. I really tried with Peraza, but I feel like he's a waste of space, bro. And then Jazz is such a big personality, and he says so much. But, like, like the amount of, like, and this is something I'm going to talk about when we get back. The amount of things, Jazz has been back for like a week. The amount of things that we've gotten from Jazz in a week. Oh, I'm only playing at 70%. Oh, me and Volpe the best 2-man in the game. Oh, there should be more trash talk in the rivalry. Free smoke. Oh, like, oh, I like getting booed. And like, it's there's so many of these like extra things I don't need. Like, it doesn't match your production. And like, bro, just play and stay in the game and stay healthy and zip it up with some of that, bro. It's too much. I don't know. And I like his swag. Don't get me wrong. I like the anime cleats. I like all that is cool. But I'm like, this guy's been back for a week. And there's so many headlines and extra nonsense. And then back-to-back nights, he's out of the game early. Neck stiffness, a groin now. And that's why I said go back to Saturday when they rested him. And I'm like, he's 27 years old. He just had a month off. He needs scheduled rest the 4th game back? Or the 5th game back? He played Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and he needs to rest in favor of playing Pablo Reyes? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much about it, yo. I don't know. It's my job to think about it and talk about it. I need somebody to get to Jazz that Jazz respects and be like, bro, say less, right? That's like a New York thing. That's so New York. I'm putting that in the chat right now. Say less. Sometimes less is more. I get paid to talk, so I can't say less. But if I was a Yankee, let your bat do the talking, bro. Let your play do the talking. He's got quotables every single night. Yo. What, that's Boone for you? We can blame Boone for Jazz's personality. Boone gets blamed for everything. Yeah, he just he needs to, like, it's just like, bro, chill, bro. You've been back for a week, and I don't know how many different Jazz quote cards I've seen where I'm like, all right. Like, all right, Jazz, you're playing at 70%. Like, just you don't need to reveal everything. you and Volpe are the best two-man ever. And I know it was like I know what he was trying to do. I know the other meaning of two-man. But it's just like, bro, shut up. Just play, bro. You just were gone from April 29th to June 2nd. All right.
Good morning at 1 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti. We'll add two more to the list of no's for the Knicks, reportedly turned away by the Hawks and the Mavericks, and their attempts to speak with Quinn Snyder and Jason Kidd about the head coaching position. They joined the Rockets' Ime Udoka and the T-Wolves' Chris Finch as the Knicks remain at square one, trying to find that replacement for Tom Thibodeau. Able to finish off the Thunder 116-107, outscored them 32-18 in the fourth, take a 2-1 series lead. Mets shut down the Nationals 5-zip. Brandon Nimmo went deep twice. Juan Soto reached the seats. All in support of David Peterson, fired his first career complete game shutout, scattered 6 hits with 6 Ks. That's 5 straight wins and 14 out of 17 for the Mets. The Yankees bounced the Royals 6-3. Aaron Judge went deep for a third straight game, his 25th on the season. Paul Goldschmidt knocked in 2, all in support of Clark Schmidt, who allowed just 2 hits over 6 scoreless with 7 Ks. However, for the second straight night, an injury concern for Jazz Chisholm, this time left with left groin tightness. $75, clear skies, Central Park. That's what's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Hey, right back at it on the Fan in New York. Your boy KM in the AM to 2 a.m. talking sports. Call me up if you want to talk about the Knicks, if you want to talk about James Dolan, Worldwide West, Leon Rose. You notice in Tom Thibodeau's whole thing he wrote, he didn't thank them individually. He didn't say thank you, James Dolan, for the opportunity. He didn't say thank you, Worldwide West. He didn't even say thank you to his buddy Leon Rose that used to be his agent and gave him a $30 million extension. He's going to take that $30 million and do whatever he wants. I have a theory that somebody's going to hire him. Somebody's going to hire him quietly to be on their bench, come and be a defensive specialist. I also have a theory that the Knicks could just say, hey, you know what? We overreacted. You want to come back? Chris is in Port Washington on the Fan. What's up, Chris? Good. How are you?
It's not like this is some desirable job where everybody wants to become coach, right?
But not to stop you, Chris. That's the crazy thing. It's the New York Knicks. They're one of it should be a really desirable job. It is, but they're making it less desirable.
100%. So not only is it not desirable, I think we're all used to it because we've seen this dysfunction when they stump down. They're good and it's still dysfunctional. One more. I told them can't put on the average. It's too big of a trade. I got a wild trade for you.
Okay.
You gotta hear me out.
You were told what Fleeks told you can't say it on there. Okay, go.
Every first round pick under the sun. And
The Suns get who? Thanks for the call, Chris. I was with you too. I thought you said the Suns get Bradley Beal, and then I'm like, they have him already, and there's just we're not even anywhere near the trade machines in that conversation. The conversation right now is around what the New York Knicks plan of attack is. When we're saying their breadth of a plan, and the plan that is materializing is, hey, let's knock on every franchise's door for a coach that we would like to speak with. And then after we get turned down trying to talk to all of the potential coaches that we like, right? Like, and I also understand the angle that people are talking about, like, oh, well, they can get told no at first. And then if there is mutual interest, as we heard Jason Kidd had mutual interest, like maybe there's some buttons that can be pressed as far as contract extensions and being forced out or, forcing their way out. But like, no one wants to help the Knicks. So I think right now where the conversation is what is this for? Is this smoke and mirrors? Are they trying to trick some people? Are they trying to trick us as fans, media? Because like it's obsessive. I think they're like 0 for 6 right now. Ime Udoka, Chris Finch, Jason Kidd, Quinn Snyder, Billy Donovan. I'm probably forgetting the 6-1. To me, it's like if this is your plan, if this is your strategy, it's embarrassing to your fan base. It doesn't give anybody a sense of security that like what you're doing or like that you're gonna land the right coach. And ultimately, I think they're gonna hire and like Johnny Bryant. I really don't think this is a situation now that you can bring in a rookie. I don't think this is a situation that now, if you would have got rid of Tom Thibodeau and a couple days later announced Johnny Bryant, he's coming back home. Okay. But now we've gotten so far down this pathway to finding the next coach. You got to find somebody with a name and not find. You got to hire somebody that we know, a household name that can handle this spotlight, handle the media, handle all the security parameters of the Garden, all the egos of the players on the team, handle the expectations of you got to win 50 games, you got to get to the finals. Isaac is out in Brooklyn on the Fan next. What's up, man? Hello.
You're climbing the offshore. You're just doing another year. Even if you don't make it next year, bro, there's good teams in the NBA. Man, you got to give it a shot every single year. You can't just expect every year to shoot it.
Okay, so let's play that game. Let's play that game. Let's say they win. Let's play the game. Like next year isn't a year that they're expected to win. They can take a step back. It means you took a step back, Isaac. It means you fired a guy that got you further than you've been in 25 years. And if the next guy can't get you to that point, it's going to be looked at as a failure. They look at this year as a failure.
Even if they don't make it next year to the NBA Finals, I'm fine. Bro, they're doing good basketball. They're making it fun.
Yeah. They're not bums anymore, right? And that's the thing, Isaac. Thanks for the call. You got to crawl before you walk. And I think they feel like after 5 years, they're ready to be a champion. That's why I've joked, oh, now they're the New York Yankees. Now they have championship expectations. They're singularly focused on winning a championship for their fans. You were on the way. So what Isaac's saying, you could apply that to Tom Thibodeau and his group. Oh, if they don't win next year, it's okay. They're playing good basketball. But no, you just got rid of the architect of this Knicks team that got back to relevance. You have to replace him with somebody that can go the distance because you felt like he couldn't get you over the hump. The bar is set. The bar is set, man. There is no, oh, even if they don't win next year. If they don't win next year, it's going to be bad. It's going to be negative. It's going to be a lot of negative energy. Somebody's going to get chopped next year. Somebody's head's got to roll next year. And then, like, this is how you unravel. This is how you go backwards. This is how you set the franchise back. And I'm not rooting for that. But, like, this has the fingerprints on it of Dolan not being patient enough, Dolan being tired of Tom Thibodeau's face and voice, and just being like, that'll be all. That'll be all. I'm disappointed, and that'll be all. We should have been in the finals, and you can go. And you know what? I don't know who the next guy is, but I'd rather have a new guy in here than to give you another year. 30 million, whatever. It's just 30 million. We made extra 30 million this year easy. We've got that extra 30 million by going to the Eastern Conference Finals. You see the ticket prices? Yeah, you helped get us out of the second round. You finally did that, right? You got out of the second round, and this is how we'll reward you for it. Yeah, keep the 30 million. And then the next guy that comes in is expected to get to the Eastern Conference Finals next year. What if the Pacers, this team of destiny, they're not going anywhere? Like, they're going to lose Miles Turner. I'm sure they'll be all right without him. Or what if Miles Turner wants to stay there? We don't know what the East is going to look like. I had no idea Kenny Atkinson was going to turn the Cavaliers into the number 1 seed, and then they'd be hurt and not ready to go. The Celtics should be out of the way, but who else is going to emerge? Are the Pistons going to emerge? The Knicks had a 6-game series with them. Are they going to get better? Is there going to be some dark horse team? I don't know, the Orlando Magic? Are the Miami Heat going to somehow figure it? I don't know. The Raptors? Are the Raptors going to get Giannis and all of a sudden you got to deal with Toronto? A lot can change in a year. It just made a lot of more sense to just stay the course, to run it back. Like, this group played 1 year together. And I guess in that 1 year, they decided we don't want to play another year with Tom Thibodeau. And Dolan said, not a problem. We'll get him up out of here. We'll find somebody else. It'll be okay. But what happens when it's not okay? Let's shift the focus here. You know where it's okay? It's okay for the Mets. The Mets moved on from Buck Showalter to Carlos Mendoza. That was the right move. And even when they made that move, a lot of you poo-pooed that move. A lot of you didn't like that move. A lot of you said, come on, this is how they're going to do Buck. Buck was an older guy as well. Carlos Mendoza was a Yankee. He came out of the Yankee organization. He was under Aaron Boone. The Yankees granted permission to the Mets. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You want to talk to our bench coach? You got it. You got it. He's a good guy. I remember talking about what I knew of him was how respected he was, how players liked him, like his relationship with players, the Venezuelan players on the team, their connection to him, and how, his connection to Miguel Cabrera. I remember, Glaber and Peraza and Cabrera, those guys, like how he introduced them to Miggy and made sure that they were connected. Mendy's been great. Mendy does not seem like a guy in his second year at all. And I already gave him credit for, I call him Steady Mendy. He's steady. Even with Juan Soto, that's who he is. He's not surprised that Juan Soto is Juan Soto. And he also didn't trip off of Juan Soto, not, mashing home runs and whatever. And now tonight with David Peterson, he could have taken him out. He could have played the book, the analytics, and said, no, that's enough, man. We got a long season ahead. No, go get that complete game shutout and enjoy it with your teammates. They celebrated that like a series win in the postseason tonight. They won the series against a division rival in their building with a complete game shutout. There was hugs. They do their thing where they kick the leg. They were all together, the starters. Let me look at my notes. I even wrote, I might have said this in my open. I'm like, that type of stuff, those are team building moments. That type of stuff goes on the championship DVD. We don't have those anymore. But like what you saw from the Mets rotation, and then like Brandon Nimmo, who had 2 homers, and Tyrone Taylor and Francis, they are happy. Francisco Lindor talked about how winning cures all, and how winning is how they build chemistry, camaraderie. And right now, it's all good in the Mets world. Let's go to Massachusetts and talk to Jonathan on the fan next. What are you thinking about, John?
We've spoken before. I'm thinking about positivity in the fan base and how it affects the team.
Are you banging the drum of positivity tonight after the Make It Happen Mets are 20 games over 500, a 5-game win streak?
Yeah. I remember after I forget what series last year, it was either after they beat the Phillies or the Brewers, before they had their big champagne celebration. He said the following. He said, "This is who we are. meaning positive. We're the guys who smile. We're the guys who lead off the game, Motown to get everybody in a good mood. A good mood helps us. Unlike like the Tigers now, the Tigers fans are cheering Javi Baez, and he's raking. The Mets fans are booing Javi Baez, and he sucked even more.
They booed Juan Soto. They booed Juan Soto this year. It's crazy.
And it's because Juan Soto has an unbelievable, unshakable confidence. That's why he's so.
He's got the best eye, arguably, in the game.
So he knows he's never going to be lost. And who also knows it is Mendoza. So what he does is so state. Like they show faith in Griffin Canning. They say everybody thinks we see something in you, and then they want to pay them back. So they're all pitching way better than anybody has any business thinking they should. And a lot of it's that they feel good about themselves, and the fans are helping. And they have, like last year, things turned around. You could say it was Hawks Tua, but it wasn't Hawks Tua.
No. Nobody said that. Nobody said it was Haley Welch.
Well, there's always some, whether it was
Grimace, they said. OMG, they said. Jorge Lopez throwing his glove into the stands, they said. The team meeting, they said. But nah, by the time Hawk Tua came over here,
only because baseball is by far the hardest.
it's every day. Yeah.
And even the best will look so bad for days at a time. Willie Mays started 0 for 40.
It's a humbling sport. I don't care who you are. That's why I look at Judge. I'm like, he's breaking the game. Like Judge doesn't make it. Sure. Because they've struggled. Because they've had stretches where they struggled and they know it can come back.
Baseball is the most brutal, especially every pitcher throws harder than Pedro ever threw in his life. 95 is like mediocre now.
Yeah, the game is crazy now.
So you can't be getting booze from your own fans. I just say it.
Yeah, no, I think they stopped that. Thanks for the call, John. Appreciate the positive energy and positive outlook on Positive Tommy's Mets. I look at Pete Alonso in the year that he's having. He had a positive attitude the whole offseason and even coming into this season. He could have made a fuss about them not paying him, how they paid Juan Soto way more than him. And Juan Soto hadn't played a game for the Mets. No, they're playing together. And that's another thing I was going off of the other night. I'm like, you guys don't think they're going to pay Pete Alonso? I do. You don't think Pete Alonso is going to be more inclined to take the Met offer? I do. I think Pete Alonso wants to continue. Everything's turning to gold for Steve Cohen and David Stearns. A couple years back, I said, this is the end of the LOL Mets. You realize that, right? They're going to be perennial contenders. They've got the money and the brains. This is New York. Welcome to the big boy table. Welcome to the show. Like they're not going to be bums. They're not going to lose. They have too much talent and resources. And I give credit to the Mets marketing team. They'll have a Minecraft night. They'll have a Bravo TV night. It's Pride Month. They'll have Pride Night. Tonight was Juan Soto Dominican Republic jersey night. And I think they're doing one for Lindor next month, a Puerto Rico theme night. All inclusive. Everyone's welcome, except for the giraffe. The Bronx Zoo giraffe, he just takes L's. But that's funny too. They created a mascot race, and they put the Bronx Zoo giraffe in a dirty white tee, and he's got a frown on his face. His eyebrows are slanted down, and he's over his last 35 40. He can't win. They're not ever letting the Bronx get a win in Queens. 888-808-1019. All the gimmicks and stuff. I remember I had a rant that I won't say it went viral, but it made its round. Someone recently tagged me, and I was like, I don't even care about that. I was like, I was leaning into the preseason stuff. But, the crux of everything I was saying is you can have a dance crew. You can have a light show. You can have a mascot race. You can have all these giveaways. But at the end of the day, what's going to make you relevant, what's going to decide if fans come, is if you win. Will the Mets be able to pick up where they left off last year and win? Hell yeah. And if you're a Met fan, you got to feel like this is it, that this group is going to continue this. I'm all for it. I'll hype you up. You're the best team in the National League. Arguably, right now, you're the best team in baseball. When you look at the records and you look at the win percentage, it's the Make It Happen Mets, atop of baseball. It's June 12th. You should be thinking World Series. And I want you to think World Series. I want you to think championship or bust. Because you don't go out and sign an $805 million player to maybe get back to the NLCS. No. You're supposed to beat whoever's in the NLCS this year and go on to the World Series. And if it's the Yankees there meeting you, swell. So be it. Run it. I like it when both teams are good. The postseason was lit last year, having Citi Field host one night, Yankee Stadium host the next. Baseball is better when the world can look at New York and see our fans and our ballparks. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind it. I'm not salty about it. There's some Met fans that have an idea that, like, I'm rooting against Juan Soto. I wasn't rooting against Juan Soto. I was kind of tight because I probably lost $500 betting on Juan Soto to be Juan Soto in the beginning of the year. Did I enjoy him struggling a little bit coming out of his Yankee pinstripes and starting his Mets tenure? Absolutely. But that's over. It actually lasted longer than I imagined. It's done. So enjoy it, man. The pitching lab, whoever comes out of it, comes out better for it. Manaya's on the way back. Frankie Montas on the way back. Before you know it, and Jesse Winker and Mark Vientos and Jose Siri are back. And you got the trade deadline and a whole season. Enjoy the season. I think I was hearing Evan talk about, enjoying the season and not fast forwarding to October. Yeah, we know the goal is to win the World Series, man, but you got to get there. That's why I can't stand these people now that are helicoptering in on Judge. Judge smacks another home run today, 25 on the season. This guy's on pace to have over 50 home runs again and potentially win the Triple Crown. But these losers that couldn't do anything with a baseball want to minimize it and say, doesn't matter unless he does it in October. Another meaningless regular season homer for Aaron Judge. You're crazy. I was just telling the chat during the break, my homie Zeke lives out in PA. I'm trying to figure out a game for him to come through and go to. But some of my other homies, like I run with a lot of bleacher creatures and people that live in New York and people that are season ticket holders and go to every homestand. And some of the conversations I'm having, I'm like, if this is a year where Judge wins the MVP, wins the Triple Crown, and actually does have it in October enough to propel the Yankees back to the World Series, maybe win it, it's history. It's historic. We may never see a better hitting season than this. I got to go to those games. I'm telling my wife, like, hey, my son, I said my son was banned. He's unbanned. He's unbanned. He can come back to the stadium because this is historic. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not going to be a spring chicken forever. If you can get to Citi Field to see this Mets team, go. If you can get to Yankee Stadium to see the Yankees, go. And if this is a year that we actually do see a Subway Series, 25 years since the last one, great. It would be great for the city. We need it. Coming off the Knicks failure and now the Knicks embarrassing themselves. It's a tough time for the Knicks Rangers fans. I said I didn't even get into the Chris Kreider trade, but think about what the Rangers season was, what the Knicks season was, the highs of it, and now the lows of just the unknown. And even go back to the Yankees losing in the World Series. At least the Yankees are back. That's a short off season. And even the Mets getting whopped by Ohtani and the Dodgers. We want a champion. We need somebody to win. We need somebody to be a champion and win. And if we get the Subway Series, we're guaranteed a parade. So be it. I won't be mad about it. We're coming up on 40 years since the Mets won a World Series. If they don't win it next year it marks 40 years. I like to see teams and fan bases that haven't had anything win. Stay down till you come up. That's why I wasn't hating on the Knicks. Hey, they've been trash for so long. Let them live. Let them celebrate. Let them have some joy. You know, even in the NFL or even in the NBA, I don't mind the Pacers either. I don't like anything about them, but I know they're out there. Those corn farmers, they're living it up 2-1 against OKC. In the NFL, the Lions, I was rooting for the Lions. Hoped it was the Lions' year. I saw people out in Detroit with tears in their eyes watching the Lions be good. It's fandom. It's sports. It's something that takes us out of our day-to-day lives. It's something that becomes part of our personality. It's something that connects all of us. Something as simple as grown men playing games that we start playing in elementary school. But then we wear these teams and we wear our fandom like we have something to do with it. We don't. We just talk about it all the time and go to the games and spend our money and watch it on TV and hope that we can get the joy out of being a champion and following a whole season from start to finish and getting a parade. We are overdue here in New York, but at least we have good teams that give us that feeling like, hey, maybe it could be us. 888-808-1019. We got to break it down. I'm running out of time. I see those Knicks calls, Tom Thibodeau. I see some calls about the NBA as, like I just said, the Pacers are up 2-1 in the finals. Everyone had them only winning one game. They've got two. They're 2 away from being the champs. I'll sprinkle a couple other things in. I do want to talk about Abdul Carter, Jermaine Illuminor, Boogie Cousins. Yeah, we'll do the big shot of the night when we come back. I got to get that in as well. So big shot of the night when we come back, and the rest of your calls, dial 888-808-1019. KM to AM returns right after this. Yo, give me a minute. I'll be back. Let's see. Who should be a big shot? All right, I gotta get some push-ups in out here too, if you don't mind. Did chest in the gym today, so count it. Who they block? They're doing their jobs. They're moderating. They have the ability. Clean it up. I didn't even catch it. Like, I'm going to the bathroom. I'm doing push-ups. They know the idea. They know. Amber, Hector in here every night. They know where we want to keep the conversations. They know when somebody's crossing the line. They know clearly when someone is trolling. What I always say is like, yo, just be respectful of other people in the chat and me. And like, I don't care if you disrespect me. You're in my chat helping me, really. But like, there's just lines, and you can always tell when it gets spammy. One, like, don't hijack the chat. And then also just watch what you say as far as like offending anybody. Don't offend anybody. That guy, I don't know, bro. The big shot of the night is brought to you by WFAN and me, Keith McPherson. Bright lights, big city. We got a bunch of big shots, but tonight only goes to one guy, man, who did it in New York. It's David Peterson. I was so impressed watching him pitch. He was efficient, complete game shutout. And you know what? I always bring up this quote from him last year that stood out to me where he said, nobody wants to be the guy to let the team down. And he's not very often that guy. He's ace-like. Like, he was so impressive tonight, coming off the heels of an extra inning game where, you use your high leverage relievers the night before. He literally gave the bullpen a night off. He becomes the 63rd pitcher in Mets history to throw a shutout with no walks. First career complete game shutout for David Peterson. He throws 106 pitches, gives up 6 hits, 6 Ks. Like, masterful, bro. That's ace-like stuff. And, a rotation with a bunch of guys who were just wowing you every time. None of them want to be the guy to let you down. And I guess we could pour a little half a shot for Mendy allowing it. He said, I called him in the tunnel and I said, man, this is a tough one. And Peterson was like, let me finish it. And I said, all right, it's yours. Like, that's big. That's big for a guy's confidence. And I give Mendy a lot of credit for managing that way, for being that type of guy. And give some credit to Luis Torrens as well, catching the ball. So 888-808-1019. Obviously, the main conversation is around the Knicks and Tom Thibodeau. And not even Tom Thibodeau anymore, right? The conversation is around what the hell are the Knicks doing? And like, are they playing some kind of game here? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take here. Doing your due diligence, double and triple check leave no stone unturned here. It just sets it up for them when when they do hire either a unemployed coach or a rookie coach with no experience, I don't know. I equated it to what the Jets did, but look what the Jets did all of that due diligence, and then they ended up with Aaron Glenn, who was like a shiny candidate that a lot of people were pointing to and wanted. We'll see how he actually turns out as a coach with results on the field. But like they're casting a wide net, and like the Jets are the Jets. Like what I mean is like the Jets are a disaster most of the time. The Knicks had success. They had their most successful year in 25 years, and they decided to enter into a wide net coaching search. Why? Make it make sense. Somebody explain it to me like I'm 5. Down in Long Branch, Jackson, you're on the Fan in New York. What's up, man? Okay, yeah, I know Positive Tommy. He's a double agent. He brings the positivity to the Mets and the Knicks, so that's fine.
Examples of teams in similar situations that have found success, and it gives me a little hope. Which is if you look at the Toronto Raptors, I feel like people forget about Dwayne Casey, who led them to a 59-win season as their head coach before they actually fired him the year that he had that 59-win season. They hired Nick Nurse, who they weren't going after initially.
Yeah,
ended up
they
winning
got
the
Kawhi
title
Leonard
the year after with Kawhi.
We've mentioned them.
And then Mark Jackson, when he got fired, Kerr came in and built the dynasty of the Golden State Warriors. And I feel like I've heard a lot of negative outlooks.
They got KD in there,
I know. I feel like I've seen all these trade rumors and criticisms towards people like Cat, towards even depth like Campaign, who, by the way, game 1 of the Pistons series, he was on the front cover of the Post for a reason. Like, that's a guy who you can develop and continue to lean on. Maybe not in clutch situations.
Maybe not develop. He's a veteran. He had one hot game. He didn't do anything else the rest of the playoffs.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just a Campaign glazer, but I feel like
you're being positive. I get it. You're looking at everything glass half full.
Exactly. I think that Giannis and KD and all these people that people are showing, mock trades for him, whatever. I feel like the right move from here. I don't know who the coach will be, and I think that's the only concerning spot. But the good part is that you did get rid of a guy who was sticking to his guns in that he wasn't going to develop the bench. And if you don't go after a guy like Giannis or KD, which would end up gutting your core, and then just leaving that kind of mentality as what you should have kept, I feel like in this NBA, Shaq had a great quote in the playoffs on was it NBA on TNT where he said the others win championships. And I think that's more true now than ever, that the depth in today's NBA, the fresh legs, you look at the 2024 Boston Celtics, even the Nuggets with Jokic, Murray, they have these guys like Bruce Brown step up, Aaron Gordon.
I mean, tonight, Benedict Mathurin, this guy went off tonight for the Pacers.
He was insane tonight. I feel like there is a positive outlook where you did get rid of a mentality that even though it was working well during the regular season and it did work well during the postseason, it was bound to meet a ceiling. And I think this Knicks roster is at a point where the ceiling is more important than the floor. So I do have hope for, as long as we don't gut our core with a superstar trade that we don't need, whoever does step into that role does have a great opportunity to just utilize that depth in a way that hasn't. And if you utilize the depth with a New York Knicks roster that's been the best I've seen in my lifetime, I feel like that's a lot more dangerous than where we stand right now.
That's the way to be, Jackson. You go to bed on that note. Positive thoughts, positive energy. Bang the drum of positivity. That's all good until the players don't vibe with the coach.
or the coach has some different kind of philosophies, or can't call timeouts in the game, and you have some of these. Who knows, man? Who knows? I said the Knicks do have a plan. They have a plan A, B, C, D, and E. Probably end up going with plan E, hoping that plan E is enough to get back to the Eastern Conference Finals, and it's probably not going to be. The odds are stacked against them. May the odds ever be in their favor, the odds are stacked against them. They have good players. They need a couple more good players. The league is unpredictable, and we can't predict who the next coach is going to be. 888-808-1019. We don't know. We don't know. And maybe that's the thing. They're trying to throw us off their scent. They're trying to distract us from who I don't know. Maybe that's their master plan. It's, well, we know all along who we want, but we're just going to play this game through the NBA Finals. Knicks for clicks, right? Yeah, we'll keep our name in the headlines through the NBA Finals because you guys aren't watching the finals. The ratings have dipped lower. We'll see how the ratings come out for Game 3. And the Pacers, right? You got to distract the world from realizing that the Pacers are a team of destiny. That since January, the Pacers might be the best team in the NBA. That the Pacers took a step forward after being swept in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. And we fired our coach for losing to the Pacers as if they were some scrubs that were beneath us. When in actuality, like, they're really good. And on any given night, like, they can get at you. I was just looking at a stat where, like, and again, we thought it was a foregone conclusion. Oh, the Thunder are going to wrap this thing up. If they don't sweep them 5 games, yeah, okay. That's why we watch. That's why we talk. That's why we bet. That's why we don't know. That's why we buy tickets, and the tickets are so expensive because you could go witness something that, like, just ridiculous. Benedict Mathurin going off for 27 points off the bench. There were games against the Knicks he did nothing. You don't know what's going to happen. The Pacers, I think, I don't know. I can't say that they're going to win the series. I just think it's going to be great. It's just going to add to all of this because I said that. I was coming on a Thursday. Oh, Thursday of last week, and I went to the game. And I had fed into the narrative. I'm like, yeah, well, I went to the Hard Rock at Yankee Stadium. I watched a little bit of the game, and the Thunder were in control, and the Pacers can't rock with them. And I don't know how many. And then as I'm sitting here, it's 2 minutes left, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, let me not go too far down the rabbit hole of, like, just everybody saying the Thunder are going to be the champ. Bang. They come back and beat them. Here's the stat. The Thunder offense in the final 5 minutes and 25 seconds tonight. They shot 1 of 6 2-pointers. They were 0 for 4 from deep 3-pointers. They were 5 of 8 free throws with a turnover. The Pacers blocked 5 shots. Late in the game, if you're tired or you're not dialed in and you're not on your A game, the Pacers are. That's their biggest strength. That has been consistent. They will get you at the end. And when you look at the box score, right, the Pacers had a little bit of a better field goal percentage, but, the Thunder hit more threes. I don't know. I just think it's I mean, SGA tonight. SGA started off the series having the most points anyone's ever had in 2 games of a finals. He had, I think, 72 points. He had 24 tonight. He was 9 of 20. The Pacers are on to something. Rick Carlisle's a good coach, and they got a scrappy bunch, and maybe that too. They're a little older than these guys, so maybe they're big dogs. Maybe they're out there just kind of bullying them a little bit and letting them know, hey, we're veterans. We've been in this league a while. You guys from OKC, you're going to have some time to get back here, but, like, we fought to get here, and we're not going to just lay down. 888-808-1019. Jeff is down in Louisiana on the Fan in New York.
Hey there, Keith. It's good to talk to you. I've been thinking about the NBA, and I've been thinking about the playoffs. I've been thinking about, the Knicks played the Pistons. That's a physical team. Then they played the Celtics. Before Tatum went out, you're talking about a team that just passes so precisely, from diagonally across the baseline and everything, and it's hard to keep up with. Then they play Indiana, this kind of a deep racehorse team that can just exhaust you. And I've come to the conclusion that the NBA now requires a large squad with versatility. You need a deep bench. You need to trust it, and you need a mixture of veterans and youth. And the Knicks the Knicks, not just Thibodeau, but with Leon Rose. I mean, they've contracted their team over the last few years. Giving up 2 players for one, for example, or 5 draft picks for one player. So I think they need to try to have a more expansive team, more versatile team.
Thanks for the call, Jeff. Yeah, they kind of painted themselves into a corner with roster construction. That's why during this whole season, I'm like, they're not winning anything. Not with this group. They don't have enough. Not with a team they didn't draft. Free agency, trades, they put this group together, and they're going to contend. They're going to compete, but they're not going to be able to. Eventually, I ended up being right, but they surprised us beating the Celtics. I don't know, man. They need to add some pieces to this bench and be a deeper team, and they need to find a coach that can get the most out of this team offensively and have a deeper set of rotations. I don't know who that's going to be. They need to know who that's going to be, though. Martin is in Rockland on the Fan next. What's up, Martin?
Hey, what's up? How are you? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm good.
So I just wanted to call you. You were talking about the firing Tibbs. And I do understand that the way it's looking now, the Knicks don't have a plan. And I don't know if that's the case, or they do have a plan and they're not telling it to us yet. I don't know. And it's quite worrisome because it looks like it's scary. It looks like it's going to go back to what was seen for the past 25 years, and no one wants that. But on the other hand, Tibbs has grew to the max of his potential. One of the reasons why they fired Tibbs. Yeah, you're talking about that they fired him because he lost to the Pacers, and look what the Pacers are doing to the Thunder. Look at the Thunder. One of the reasons they fired Tibbs, a lot of people, and no one knows it for sure, a lot of people are thinking, if they wanted to get any veteran bench piece, and they wanted him to take a small pay cut maybe, with Tibbs, there's no way they would get such a piece because he's not going to be paying. So what's the point? That's he doesn't play his bench. He didn't trust his bench. He had no bench. He could have made better. He could have worked with his bench a little bit better. Maybe not campaign, but there was other pieces in his bench that he could have used throughout the season, and he would have trusted them. He did not use them. He did not trust them. And it can't come game 3 of the. First of all, game 1 of the Pacers series is not the same as game 1 versus the Pacers versus the Thunder. We lost it in 2 minutes. They lost it in a whole quarter. That's one thing. Another thing is game 3, he was forced to do something that he's not comfortable doing. And instead of going back to game 4, he went back to his original game plan in game 4. So there's no proof that he's willing to change in any way. So as much as it sucks to think that the Knicks don't have a plan and they acted rashly and they acted rashly, they jumped onto a decision, he wasn't the guy that's taking us any further either.
Thanks for the call. Well, we've done that 100 times. I hear you. I still think he was handcuffed by 7.5 players. And 2 things can be true at once. That it was time to move on from Tom Thibodeau, but they weren't prepared to move on from him. And now they're going through the process of trying to find his successor. Last call goes to Jeff down in Florida. What's up, Jeff? You're on the Fan in New York.
Hey, Keith, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
So actually, my 2 points with the Knicks and Mets relate to each other in a pretty direct way. Today's basically, if you go back to June 11th of last year, the Mets lost to the Marlins to drop, I believe it was to about 9 games under. They're 105 and 60 since then. Best record, I think, by quite a lot. The point that's related to the Knicks is that the first 2 months or so of last year, everybody was saying, what the hell was Steve Cohen doing firing Buck Showalter? He's a proven winner. But Tom Thibodeau is Buck Showalter. They're very good coaches. They're very good to get you over the hump. Wouldn't be a bad job. I mean, that's have a good coach, I think, that could get him in the right direction. But the point is, Thibodeau's a great coach to get you turned around like he did with the Knicks, like he did with the Timberwolves and Bulls. He's not the guy to get you over the hump. I'm not, who knows what they're going to do, but would it make sense for them to fire him with 2 games left, like the Nuggets did with Malone? or would it make sense for them to fire him in January? No. So, yeah, they may not know who they want, but they knew going into this that he's not the answer. When they blew game one against the Pacers, and they didn't defeat a team that they had home court against after beating the Celtics, that kind of solidified it. So I mean, it's that simple. Hopefully they'll find their Mendoza to get them, basically, change the narrative.
Yeah, that's a great comparison, and you spoke to it very well, Jeff. Thank you for that. And I kind of alluded to it too when I mentioned Buck Showalter, and people have mentioned Buck Showalter back with the Yankees and the Yankees moving on. That's the next part of this, but we got to wait for that. We don't know that. I always hear Big Mac say, I do a show every day. We react every day. I can't react to what's going to happen in July, August, or next basketball season in February, March. I don't know. As of today, when you hear that they're checking on Quinn Snyder and Billy Donovan, it doesn't make you feel so confident about what's to come. I'm just like, nah, yo. You can't tell me that you moved on from stability to this. But ultimately where they were was like, it wasn't the stability. It had ran its course. Understood. Tibbs had ran his course, and you need a new voice. Good luck finding one, and hopefully it's the right one. I'm out of here. I'll be back to do the same thing tomorrow night. Coming your way next is Chris McMonagle. Keith McPherson out.
Sports Radio 101.9 FM.
Yo, you cornballs in the chat talking about salty Yankee fans. Appreciate you. You're adding to my views. Make sure you add to the algorithm. Hit like on the way out. Like, it's 2 a.m. Buddy's got a YouTube channel called Yankees Suck. Buddy's on YouTube in my live at 2 a.m. talking about salty Yankee fans. Must be nice, man. Must be nice to just do anything. I'm at work. We'll do another stream tomorrow night. I'm glad that the little workaround in the audio is just at least 10% better. Appreciate all y'all, man. Be safe out there. Be nice to one another. And yeah, you know how this ends. Another KM to AM in the books. Later.